So hello, my name is Juan Bejarano Moreno, and this is my final presentation and the final evidence for this blog. In this case, the mixture area in Grupo Empresarial Salaberry or GESA. In this case, Grupo Empresarial Salaberry or GESA is a company dedicated to the production and the manufacturing of plastics and wrapping plastics, for example, for Coca-Cola and different companies. And they give us the area of mixture. In this case, how all the raw material can mix into a different combination of plastics to go to the production area. In this case, GESA gave us a selection of different KPIs, mainly errors in mixing formula, calibration of machines, sub-compliance systems, stops due to lack of raw material, and the correction and the correct function of these companies, these systems and machines. In this case, using a statistical methodology of moving average, we found out like two different variations on KPIs. In this case, to the sub-compliance system and the mixture errors. In the case of the mixture errors, we found out that the tendency on the behavior of the data was to go to the low, so they didn't have any expected mixing errors. And in the case of the sub-compliance, we can perceive a tendency to go down to the 90%. In this case, due to possibly different behaviors that we will explain later. In this case, we decided to focus our methodology on the industry standards, the benchmarking of these KPIs and the processes, the continuous improvement of this process and data, the automatization and digitalization of the processes, and finally, the internal audits per period. After an analysis of these KPIs and the provided data from GESA and the provided context, we found out that the sub-compliance system was due to a lack of working capacitation of the operators. They preferred to use systems like Excel due to being easy to use. They didn't have like the complete education to have a right use of a computer. Mostly of the operators have a secondary school knowledge of machines, so they prefer the use of Excel to the production orders. So in this case, we also found out that most of these KPIs have like different correlations with other areas. In this case, the differences that we have like with the mixture differences was due to a planning situation, so it was out of our control. Based on that, we prefer to use and focus mostly on the generation of the dashboard. In this case, we prefer to use different visualizations in order to be easy for the operators and the GESA personnel to see like all the tracking of KPIs. In this case, it's in Spanish due to most of the personnel in GESA doesn't have like a full knowledge of English, so we prefer to use Spanish. In this case, we can perceive the variations of sub-compliance and the differences, for example, in the stops of the extruder machines that we mentioned later in the past. Finally, after a deliberation with the area, we found out that the KPI of adaptability was something that we can explore, the adaptability of the operator to the area and the task given. In this case, if the operator have a less standard time in, for example, in station A, in which they move the mixture A to the zone B, and the operator does it on less time than the standard, we can perceive more an easy adaptability of the operator. And in this case, it needs to be keep tracking, in this case, on a daily basis. And finally, active tracking in a general basis of the year in order to see the variations of the development. Finally, we found out that most of the data was compliant with the statistical control, and we can perceive like the only minor advantages for the company. In this case, the continuous improvement, the continuous knowledge of the operators and capacitation of the operators in the use of SAP, and we can take away all the statistical data that we can have, the statistical applications of these tools like forecasting in order to perceive the data movements and the data tendencies of a specific area. And also we can have like complete knowledge of how different standards work in all these industries. For example, the benchmarking of these KPIs of the processes, and finally, like all the process involved to the development of these new KPIs. Thank you very much to Hesa. Thank you very much to Ted. Thank you.